Francis, thank you for speaking out of Fringe. Now, how do you think that a Robin Hood tax could form a part of a fairer economy?
I think it's absolutely critical, not just because it could raise billions to help people who need it around the world, but also in the UK. We could use it to fund our public services, fund childcare, the health service, and jobs for our young people, but also because it would help crack down on precisely the kind of speculation in the finance sector that got us into this mess in the first place. So the TUC backs the Robin Hood campaign. We want to make it a reality.
So thank you for speaking out of Fringe, Ideas for a Fairer Economy. How do you think that a financial transaction tax, a Robin Hood tax, could be a part of a fairer economy?
I think that the financial transaction tax is a really exciting idea. I think there's a lot of momentum in terms of the campaigning for it. What I think could make a big difference is if we get the details right about the sorts of transactions that might be candidates for this sort of change. But obviously there's quite a lot of detail we've got to work through. In particular, we've got to make sure that some of these slippery products that can change jurisdiction can be explored in terms of whether they are possible candidates.
From the discussion there or in your own experience, how do you think that a Robin Hood tax could form part of a fairer economy?
Well, I think there are two big ways in which it could do it. One is that it would raise lots of money. I think that that's important. I think that it's a way of actually helping cash-strapped governments to find new sources of revenue at a time when growth is very weak and public spending is under a lot of pressure. So it's a bit of a free lunch for governments at this time, I think. So that the revenue is one big part of it. The other thing I think is, and this is just as crucial, is a way of disciplining the financial sector. I think it's a way of showing society's displeasure at what's been happening, at the sort of fact that it's been out of control for the last 5-10 years and essentially blown up the world. I think if this had been the trade union movement that had acted in this way, that by now we would have already had the equivalent of a financial transaction tax to tame the unions and to discipline them and make them behave in a more socially responsible way. And in fact that's what Mrs Thatcher did to the trade unions in the 1980s. So I'm in favour of a system of disciplining and taming the city and the financial sector more generally in just the same way as the Conservatives did the trade unions in the 1980s. So I see a financial transaction tax as a very, very big part of that. It's very much a sort of low-hanging fruit. I don't see it as the be-all and end-all. There are other things that need to be done, but it's something that could be done quite quickly, quite simply and quite effectively, and it would show the financial sector that government, society, the people meant business and they wanted them to act in a different way.